grandkids are going to take
Grandkids are gonna fuck.
I want to keep playing with this
Yeah,
tone
sure.
a little more. Hello, hello, hello. Oh no, my laundry room door's open. No one can see my laundry room. That's a private area, the laundry room. Also, it's just unsightly. My nice finished basement, but that's the one part that's still very very raw. Good morning. Got my Nelvana polar bear animation mug this morning. All out of the good coffee. So, working my way through the rest of the less than ideal coffee. Won't name names. I don't need to slander any brands on stream unless I'm getting paid by some other brand to wage brand warfare. I am available for brand warfare if anyone's interested in that. I will promote anything, I will disparage anything if the price is right. And the price is kind of any amount of money, I think. Yeah. As for promotion, it will be a very self-promotional day here on the stream. I had a soft launch for my Patreon on Thursday evening on stream, doing Thursday evening streams now. That will become a semi-regular feature of this channel. And about the same frequency I do these, so like most Thursdays, I'd say, with an occasional week off. So yeah, started a Patreon for my art. I'll be talking about that a little bit in a slideshow today, but it's going to be a pretty short presentation. And then the rest of the time, just feel like drawing this morning. So it'll be an extended draw pile kind of day with a short slideshow up top. So without further ado, let's get into the slideshow. So let me bring it up on my end here. There we go. Welcome to the First Thing in the Morning live stream. Trying to add a few bells and whistles to this thing. You'll see I got a new little border here. I like playing with the setup, so you can expect to see a lot more little things. I like to add a new thing every stream. So on the stream on Thursday, we did live calls, but I set up so that there was a little caption on screen saying who was calling in. And I know doesn't seem like a big deal, but it's very fun for me to figure out the behind the scenes of how to make that all happen. And honestly, OBS is a pretty intuitive program. It's pretty easy to figure out how to do those things. As I flip to the wrong screen. All right. Yeah, as I should be saying. One thing at a time. That's all I have time for anyway. All right, some upcoming streams. So this week I will be doing another Thursday stream. So those are from 6 to 9, the later in the day work stream. I'll be talking about what those are in my slideshow today. But yeah, I'll be doing one of those this week. Next Monday, I'll also be back for another morning stream. The following Monday, there will be no stream. And neither on... because I'll be out of town for a show in Toronto on Saturday, coming back on Sunday. So want to have that morning just to chill out. And then later that week, I'll be prepping stuff for OCAF. So want to make sure I have time for that. So no Thursday evening stream that week either. And then similarly, for the first week of April, I will be doing a that same week I'll be doing a later in the day work stream, because I'll probably be talking about OCAF, promoting that, because I'll be putting the finishing touches on whatever I have to put together for that, because it'll be that following weekend. After that, into April, not sure what the schedule will be. I'll have more thoughts on that probably by next Monday. All right, disclaimer. I'm just some guy. If you learn something, cool. I'm not claiming to have all the answers. I'm going to tell you what I'm interested in and what I've been trying. It might not work for you. I don't know if it works for me. But I Patreoned. I've been, getting deeper into the world of Patreon. I am a patron. I have been for many years of a few people. Just to name a couple who, Joni Peppers, Vune, my friends Shane and Ross and their Studio Premium Fantasy. So I'm a fan of Patreon as a way to support artists, and been moving more into that space now myself. First with the podcast I do with Tabitha, the Most Fun Podcast, and if you listen to that and you are a patron, thank you. It's like even just a little bit of support is like really cool, and it's fun to see that grow. Recently I started a separate Patreon just for my own art, and I talked a bit about my strategy or approach to posting my art online, and this is sort of what it's led to, is that out of all the known platforms where you can put stuff, I felt like Patreon was a place where I could sort of control an environment in a way that felt good to me, as a place to put my art, as the primary place where people can engage with my art, because I can kind of be more in control of the story of how it's presented, rather than everyone's art just being pumped into basically a slot machine slide reel on the more algorithmic, feed-driven social media trends that most of the platforms have moved to. Patreon is just, it's like more like, MySpace. It's like, or even how Facebook used to be, more traditional social media, in the sense that you follow people, you get their updates in a feed, but you also go to people's pages to kind of engage with what they've been doing and see their updates as a sort of kind of running narrative, right? So Patreon is like geared towards that way, because there really isn't. If there is a discovery feed, I don't engage with it. I go directly to people's pages. So, and I like that, it's not crammed with ads and all that stuff. So basically, I'm using a free tier of Patreon as the primary basis of where I will post any of the art I make. Whether that's any animation, drawings, writing, or music. And so that's basically like it's a version of like if you would follow me on Instagram. So instead of just posting on Instagram, I'm posting it on Patreon. And Instagram will basically just eventually just turn into a billboard, sort of refreshing advertisement space to point people over here as I build this up. So it'll be free, just like it would be on Instagram. Whatever I post on there, you can just see it there, without even having to be. Actually, I wonder if you even have to be a member to see it. I'm not sure how that works, but if you do, it doesn't cost you anything. I do have a paid membership called Spend Most. And that will be basically, I think the way I think I see a lot of artists that I support using it is they will, the main perk, I guess, you get from paying, even though, it's funny, as for myself as a user, as a patron of other people, I don't engage that much with what they post as content on their Patreon personally. I know other people do because I see the activity on there. For me, I like whatever they make as the end product. What I'm paying is just like, yeah, I support you continuing to do that. But I think to me, the more interesting way, rather than doing sort of like, I don't know, like rewards and stuff, it's just, if you like my art and you kind of want to see more of get insight into the process and my journey, whatever you want to call that, I'll be posting like an artist journal. So part of this too is, this is just something I always mean to do. I always, I don't know if anyone ever feels like this, but I sometimes will look at an old piece of art I made, something in an old sketchbook, and think, oh wow, that's cool. I should use that approach again, or get back into that methodology, and I'll kind of forget how I did it. And I always mean to be more fastidious with logging that kind of stuff, like how I'm doing things and how I'm approaching it, so I can kind of reference it and maybe get back in that mindset easier. Even just literally having written it down, I think would help me remember it, but I just never end up doing that. And I think having making it a sort of responsibility, tying it to this rewards tier, to update an artist journal twice a week with thoughts on, not just updates on what I am doing, but my thoughts on how I'm doing it. Not just how I'm making the art, but how I'm presenting it, how I'm getting it out into the world, because this is part of what I'm trying to figure out. Then that would sort of keep me honest to regularly doing it. So it serves that purpose for me. And if you're interested in what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, then you can follow along. And eventually I will, I'll be evolving this tier as my approach to the work and how I put it out. As that evolves, basically this will evolve along with it, because this will basically be ground zero for everything I'm doing. And part of that will eventually be like something like members only streams. I figure wait till I get some some membership on this thing before launching that part of it. But so I literally just posted this yesterday. There's already a few people who have joined from Thursday, and thank you for that. So yeah, if you're interested in following along more, here it is, $5 a month, and you'll get multiple updates from me a month on everything I've been working on. So in addition to the updates, you can right now my Thursday work streams are just open to the public. These are things I might eventually make. And I'll figure out the right balance here, is that maybe once a month I'll do a public Thursday work stream, but other than that, they'll be members only. For the time being, they're gonna be open just like these are. So Thursday streams are a little different than these ones. I don't do like a slideshow or anything. I just hop on the stream and I just start working on something and streaming my screen as I do. And along the way, I do this for 3 hours. So instead of me talking that whole time or just playing some music, I take calls from artists and friends, and that's been really fun. So it's been this last one. It was a lot of people who are kind of regulars in the chat and the audience for these Monday morning streams. And it was fun to get them to call in and talk to them about art and stuff. So yeah, that will continue to expand. I hope to have a wide variety of people on here week to week. Yeah, would love to hear from a lot of the people who join these streams. Pop on and talk at me about your special interest for 20 minutes. And yeah, it's fun. We had like a rotating. How many people did we have? We had Aaron, then we had Sean, and then we had Dom, who is one of the people running OCAF, and then Brendan and Beck. So yeah, we had five guests. So yeah, 3 hours was enough for me to get started and have 5 guests on. That went really well. That was really fun. Surprise, definitely a larger audience and more engagement on a Thursday evening than on a Monday morning. So definitely want to continue with those. It was really fun. I was wondering, with me running the stream and working, am I going to get a good amount of work done? I got almost everything I wanted to get done. I was doing cleanup on a zine, and I ended up getting pretty close to finishing the whole thing on stream. So I found it was a good actually lock in and focus tool for me, because for better or worse, I didn't leave my chair for 3 hours. Maybe I should build a break in there and get up and stretch at some point. Yeah. But speaking of what I'm working on, what I was working on the stream, and what you'll basically see. So basically if I'm working on something from now on my Patreon, you're going to see literally every part of it. So I'm even, for this thing I'm working on, I'm going to go back and everything I'm doing, I'll take pictures of and post. So it's like, you can see like the whole process. And like I mentioned, part of that is for me. So I have a historical document of my own process. It's helpful for me to have that. But also, if you're interested in how other people work and how I come up with ideas and stuff, this is the best way of answering that question, is just to go, this is what it looks like. So what I'm going to show this morning before we jump into draw pile. Oh, we got Art Frog Aaron in the chat. Hey, how's it going, man? So yeah, just going to go over this again. I talked a bit about this as I was working on it on stream, but this is more of a peek into the full process. I kind of showed this stuff on the camera, but this is the kind of thing I'll be really like showing in depth on Patreon as I work on this. So what is this? It's a story of robots building familiar objects. So it's going to be a series of 10 zines. Initially, there'll be little comic zines. My plan is that those zines are then storyboards for micro shorts. So these will eventually be animated, but this is the first stage of it. It's called What Are the Robots Building? It's about these 2 robots who are building something mysterious, and it's a peek into what they're making. So I started off in this Midori sketchbook where I just freestyle ideas. So I don't think ahead too much. I don't write ahead. I just go, what are the robots building? I do have a list of the 10 things they're building. So those are basically prompts, but I try not to think ahead. I just say, that's the list. I'm going to work through them one by one. So the first one was, what are the robots building? Good question. They are building a flower. So the mindset I'm getting into, and even this is something I kind of discover as I do it. I think sometimes I often find that if I don't try to over conceptualize something before starting, it ends up working out anyway, and the conceptual stuff gets discovered as I just make it, rather than trying to like fully conceptualize something before starting. I found that was sometimes a frustrating reality of developing an idea in a way that you have to develop something to present it to someone else, to get support to make it, is you have to have an idea fully fleshed out before you even start making it. It kind of eats into the discovery in the process. That makes sense, of course. Otherwise, you're saying, trust me, bro, I'll figure it out as I go. And for someone who has never made a show or never put out a movie, maybe has done some shorts, but asking for whatever, millions of dollars, whatever it is, doesn't feel like a safe bet. So part of my solution to that is like, well, then I'm going to create things that sort of develop a world that allows me to develop it through this process of discovery, which is what I'm showing here. I just open a sketchbook and I just draw a flower in a panel, and I just start writing about it. And I'm starting from the point of view of robots thinking about a flower. So part of the discovery of this was getting past the first kind of obvious idea, which I in an earlier stream I talked about how characterization of robots in cartoons and stuff, and sort of how robots speak and think. And there's the well-explored territory of robots see everything as just a functional object and have a hard time seeing the poetry or meaning or beauty or secondary purpose, or they're very literal and very compartmentalized. And so that was part, this first line I wrote is, a flower is an object of much beauty. A flower is a vector of aesthetic value. So I found right away I was finding something that was like a little more interesting to me than just a flower is the reproductive organ of a plant or whatever. Like, however you would dissect a flower and rob it of its beauty. They're almost like trying to synthesize, with their robot mind, they know a flower is supposed to be beautiful, but calling it a vector of aesthetic value is kind of a riddle of them dismantling beauty while trying to grasp it and trying to understand it right off the bat, rather than that being something a sort of, I think things of other media's explored robots or robot characters grasping with emotion and grasping with feeling as a sort of character development. But I thought it was, since we've sort of seen that in media, I thought it's more interesting to start there. And then I started finding this kind of poetry in that, rather than them being purely technical. It ends up sort of having this sort of whimsical, the whimsy of a soulful robot. And then when they do reduce things to numbers and stuff, it's got a bit of whimsical absurdity. Like down below they say there is more than one flower. I think when I was trying to reduce things to simple facts, I was trying to find obvious facts, things that almost don't need to be mentioned, here's a flower. Oh, but by the way, it's not just a singular flower. There's more than one. And then saying there's at least 8 flowers. There's most likely many more. And then saying flowers are red. So another thing where they will say something that's true, but it's not wrong. It's just incomplete to the point of being wrong, basically. So, through this, so this is a good example of, instead of conceptualizing this, I was discovering it. So instead of thinking to myself, oh, these robots, instead of putting up the barriers of limitations of how they think, I would think like them and discover where my thinking would end if I was thinking like them. And that I think I get more, the whole process feels more fun That's a big part of it. Instead of building these rails and then driving on them, it's like building on them as you're, or like almost like carving the path and then that becomes the rail. Just feels more engaging, and I think it gets better results, and I think you get there faster, rather than sitting back and thinking for so long before starting. So that's been really fun. That's just one page of it. So then on Patreon, I'll be kind of showing the whole process, all these sketchbooks. But so I'll take the stuff from this page and break it down, and I'll translate the ideas into single panels. So I'm not really thinking. At first, I was sort of doing it as panels. Then I found I was annoyed by drawing panels. So in the rest of this, it's just drawings on a page, loose with words around them. And that was kind of like, let me just get ideas out and not worry about how they're going to fit into panels, and I'll let that be its own stage. So here I take the ideas and I lock them into a panel, because I want this to be a little book, but I want the art to feel big enough and you can read the words. So it's just going to be a little book that's like a quarter of an 8.5 by 11 page. Each page will be like a quarter of it, and it will just be one panel per page, and that end up being a 25-page mini zine. And then I'll photograph the picture like from here to here, and then I'll take it into Drawpile. Why Drawpile? The look I wanted to get, which is this crunchy, pixely cleanup line. I find every other software I use doesn't want you to it's like they're resisting the crunchy pixely line. You have to like force it to give you that, and it's not, there's things that there's a way that the Drawpile tools are limited that produces results I really like. A key one being that I like when you do a diagonal line, it's like a checkered row of pixels. It really evokes specifically this Game Boy, or even some of the crunchy pixely stuff on like Super Nintendo. Specifically, there's a look where you're like locked into like rows of pixels that are like horizontal and vertical, and that diagonal lines don't like smooth out. They get jagged when they're diagonal. Which is something, one of the things I always reference is Yoshi's Island, the second Mario Land game, or Mario World game rather, for Super Nintendo. And it's like when things are positioned in a way where they're aligned with the grid, the lines look smoother, but as they like rotate and their lines are on diagonals, they like get crunchier, and there's something that I really like about that. So Drawpile gives you that by default, and you're not having to fight the program to give you these crunchy pixel lines. Even as you make your brush bigger, it still operates as like a chunky pixel, like square. And while I'm doing this, as I'm putting the images into borders and stuff, I'm really hoping that I left enough room for my text, because I was sort of being aware of that as I was doing this part, but that I stopped writing the text because I just wanted to get through all these compositions. So I'll cross that bridge when I get there. Part of my process is, saying, okay, well, maybe I'll have to truncate some text, or make a little extra text box, or break up the text in a certain way. Whatever I have to do, I'll solve it when I get there, and that will be that set of problems. I find if you're trying to solve every problem at every step of the way, it just slows you down, and usually there's some sort of creative way you can paint yourself out of a corner in Drawpile. Anyway, but speaking of Drawpile, today I said was a shorter slideshow, and for once it's I've actually been true to my word. So I'm gonna get a Drawpile set up and then I will just be just drawing on stream and chatting. If you fight the program and win, though, it drops hella loot. I didn't know that. Life is a video game, and I wonder what kind of loot would Clip Studio drop. Like, one thing I find with Clip Studio is like a square brush isn't even like a default. Like, you have to like make a square, and it's just like, can't you just have a circle and a square be primary brush shapes? Before, like, there's like a million brush shapes, but like a basic square with anti-aliasing to give a pixely, crunchy look is something you have to beg the program to give you. Three paper clips and a desk lamp. Doesn't feel worth it. If it dropped a full rotisserie chicken or a ham on a bone. I always love that when you like beat up a guy in Streets of Rage or whatever. When he dies, he drops a full meal. All right, I'm going to post the link in the chat. Yes, 3 paper clips and a desk lamp. That's the Clip Studio loot drop. And let's see. Yes, and so a new little addition to the stream is I got this little draw pile instructions now. So if anyone does want to join the draw pile, it's not always me having to repeat all the instructions. It's not up to people to ask me how to get on. They can just look at the screen and see how it's done. And yeah, the link is in the chat. So, P Maestro and Art Frog, fully expecting you to join me this morning. And we'll have a nice, how long we got? But yeah, almost an hour, like 50 minutes to draw. Let's see. Do I have my music piped in? I think I do. Yep, there it is. We got P Maestro. What's your icon here? Is that a Lilo and Stitch thing? I'm going to turn down the music a little bit for me. Just have it quietly in the background there. Mega Man is definitely a cartoon series that I don't own on DVD, but I'd like to. I think anytime I've found it for sale, it's weirdly pretty pricey. I don't think they've done that wide of a release, so I think it's still kind of rare to find. Also, I feel like even though these shows often have mixed reviews, I feel like Mega Man is a show, or a property rather, that's overdue for a sort of Teen Titans Go / Thundercats Roar treatment. A very silly cartoon vibe, because I mean they've got so many characters with all the Wind Man, Fireman, Magnet Man, Everything Man. So many men. I just feel like there's a lot of fun you could have with that. And Mega Man's just a fun little character to doodle. Oh, P Maestro was telling me that his icon is it's Lilo and Stitch dressed in Cardcaptor Sakura outfits. Is this art you drew, or is this art you found? Both. I found it when I was cleaning out my Google Drive. I had drawn it years ago, so when I was when I was grabbing an icon for the draw pile, it was readily available in my download folder. Nice. So you drew it and you found it later. That's the best, when you can find your own art and rediscover your own brilliance. Art frog. I love these guys. These are awesome. Very very Fleischer coated. Look at this guy's. I'm looking at this guy's sprite. And it looks like he's got a little sassy hand on his hip. Yeah. They've all got this little battle stance too, which is very funny. That's a cool. This is a new feature. where the fill tool shows it the area of its limitations. That's cool. Yeah, Pat, so you're not seeing the square on the fill tool. That's because I think by default it's just big enough to fill the whole canvas. So I think I have it centered so you can't see my tool properties, but if you go up here and you change the size limit, it'll change the size of the box. So I was changing it because I'm very guilty of always filling the whole canvas, and right now I'm using a very dark color, so I don't want to keep having to undo that. So I just changed my size limit, and then it shows you the limitations of the fill. So even if it does go outside of the boundaries, it only makes the square that big. Yeah, pretty neat. Pretty nifty. Guts Man. Oh, that's sick, dude. 0. Man, I remember when Mega Man X came out and they introduced 0. Whoa, that was a big moment. That was a huge moment in all our lives. Because, I mean, they already made Mega Man that much cooler by making him Mega Man X. But then they give you a whole other character that's like, oh, even cooler than that you want to be. But I don't think you could play as 0 until a much later game, or maybe there might have been some sort of like cheat code or something where you could play as 0 in the first game. I don't remember. But eventually in the games you could play as 0. I'm only I have the collection of those games, but I'm only super familiar with the first maybe 3, I think. At a certain point they shifted over to PlayStation. I never had a PlayStation. Play a 0 in 2 spots. I don't think you play a 0 at all in the first game. Could be wrong, but it might be. I mean, those first couple games are pretty similar, so it could be one of those first games. But that first one I've played a ton, and as far as I remember, 0 sort of like always like just kind of pops in, and then sort of sacrifices himself for you against Vile. That guy was cool too. Kind of looked like Boba Fett. Megamans. So some more info about 0 in the chat. One sec here. Let's see. I only played X and it was absolutely great, but he wasn't playable as far as I remember. Okay. So lines up with what I was thinking. Except as kids, we all thought he was a girl. I thought Zero was a girl too at first when I was a kid because of the long hair. Yeah, there were only 3 guys with long hair at our school, and they were all girls. We used to call them the girls. And then Aaron says, Internet says he was playable in X4. And I don't think I ever played that one that much. Yeah, me neither. Let me see. Yeah, did that one come out for... Yeah, that was when they shifted to PlayStation. Which, like I said, I didn't have, so... Yeah, because all the way up to X3, those were on Super Nintendo. I played those all. I love the expression on this bird. Anticipating the pleasure that eating these bees is gonna bring him. He loves to get his mouth stung. Oh. Oh, is the music so quiet that you can barely hear it? I think it's because I have it. Yeah, I have it low on my end, but then I also have it sort of turned down in the mixer. So turn it up a little bit. Yeah, so some of it is quieter. It's weird because it's hard to tell because it looks like it's coming through pretty like medium on my little sound mixer, but I guess that doesn't always translate to how it's coming across on the stream, because it's a mix of it's a mix of my OBS mixer, but then also how high I've got the volume set natively on my computer, because I don't want it blaring in my ears. If I had a different setup, I'd probably be able to just make it so that it is piping directly into my feed without me hearing it. So I could have it at whatever volume and it wouldn't be distracted to me. It's weird, the other day on this Thursday stream, I thought I had it playing at one point, and I was rewatching the stream after, and couldn't hear it at all. So I might have just had to restart the capture or something, but it made scale down automatically so we can still hear the voiceover. Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure if there's any internal stuff like that in OBS that does that. Hey, why do they call it voiceover? I don't want my voice to be over. I was just watching some Bruce Chandling videos on the weekend, making my friend watch them, and yeah, he's not as big of a Kyle Mooney fan as I am, but he understands what's funny about it. He just can't access it as much as I can. I love Kyle Mooney. He's one of my favorite funny people. Yeah, I'm gonna change this design a little bit. I like the black arms and legs rather than the red arms. he has some kind of eyebrow thing going on. Gutsman. I really like that on the very first Mega Man. You know, they have Iceman, Fireman, Electro Man, okay, and then, you know, obvious stuff. And then, okay, Bomb Man, Cut Man. Okay, that's good. Then they're already reaching for stuff like Guts Man. I don't know why he's called Guts Man. Like, he could have been called Strong Man. But it almost feels like, oh, we'll just call the guys Something Man. We'll never run out of ideas. And then, like, Guts Man feels like something they would, like, reach for on Game 5 or something.
Let's try that again.
Like, they held back some pretty obvious ones on the first game. So like Wind Man, you know, that would be a pretty obvious one. You know, the elementals. But hey, when you come up with a beautiful character like Guts Man, you don't look a gift horse in the mouth. You just appreciate he's alive and with us for as long as we can have him. Mega Man is Rockman in Japan. That's true. I've never thought that hard about it, but it's kind of like it's supposed to be like Rockman, like he rocks. Because I mean, he does. Let's be honest. Let's just be honest with ourselves. They have to not infringe on Ultraman 2, maybe? Yeah, I guess Mega Man too much like Ultraman. That could be. That might be the case. Oh wow, this draw file sort of flew by. Gonna wrap it up in a few minutes. Get ready to head out. Even though we had a little longer, it didn't really feel any longer than usual. I was just getting lost in the Mega Man sauce. Toon Link. Classic. He's falling. Yeah, I'm gonna do a little Toon Link before I go. right color? I don't know. It just looks weird. These colors too similar? Maybe. There we go. All right. Oh, nice. Very nice 0. Very cool. All right. Good job, team. Got some fun drawings here. Oh. So that'll be it for the stream today. Like I mentioned up top, there will be this is a 2-stream week. I'll be back on Thursday evening with another later in the day work stream, and that'll go again roughly from 6 to 9. Might push it a little later because I do want to get I do need to get a certain amount of stuff done by that day. So it'll basically be starting from 6 till whenever I get stuff done. And again, I'll have some people calling in to chat. Maybe some repeat guests, hopefully some new guests. Yeah. And that was really, really fun. Definitely, like I said, later in the day, easier to get people engaged in the stream and on the chat. So it was very lively, and it was fun to talk to people on the stream. So if you didn't catch that, you can listen to that and catch up on any of the other streams in the on my YouTube page. And yeah, like I mentioned before, if you want to follow along with what I'm up to between streams, I'll be posting twice a week on my Patreon, like I mentioned, with basically everything I do as I'm doing it. I'll be updating that twice weekly. Not sure what the rhythm will be. I'm thinking it'll be like a Tuesday post and I'm trying to get my glasses looking straight. There we go. Might need to go get these adjusted. I think my ears are sort of like lopsided or something. My glasses always kind of sit a little askew. Anyway, that aside, I'm getting distracted. Yeah, right now I'm thinking I'll make a post on Tuesday evening and probably like Thursdays, and then do a stream. And then I can kind of be like, hey, I just made a fresh post on the Patreon. If you're a member, blah blah blah. So I think that'll be the rhythm. That seems to make the most sense to me right now. But we'll see. And if you're interested in following along to see how that develops, head over to, I'll put it in the chat, Patreon. I think it's just patreon.com/spendmore. I think let me make sure that's takes you to the right place. Huzzah, it does. Yeah, so patreon.com/spendmore. And yeah, I'll make my first post tomorrow for members. That'll be in my sort of artist journal thing. And then As for when I just post on the main thing, it'll just basically be up to when I'm finished something, I'll post the finished thing. And I might occasionally make update posts or just announce things or promote things through there as well. So if you want to follow along with what I'm doing, either just see it as it's being when it's finished or watch it being made, head over to patreon.com/spendmore. And already got a few of you subscribed over there, so thank you very much. Thank you again to anyone who shows up to these streams, joins the draw piles, chats, otherwise engages. Makes it a lot more fun for me if there's other people in the mix. And that was a big part of the thinking of the Monday morning streams, is like kind of get that solidarity, like with people who, especially right now where in animation people are semi-employed or are between jobs and stuff. It's nice to have that, to not like get too disconnected and have that sort of reason to get out of bed Monday and start your week right, and be productive, and do it together, more importantly, and I like it too because it's like gives me a chance to start my week with just some fun drawing and listen to music and chill out. It's just a good way to get myself into a centered, relaxed mind frame that I really feel carries me through my week. So I really appreciate everyone who joins me on the way with that. So thank you. If you're on the Patreon, you'll hear from me tomorrow. Otherwise, tune in on Thursday at 6 p.m. for the work stream. All right. Bye for now.